Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Divided Films, the podcast where we talk about movies that audiences and critics do not agree on. I am JJ, and with me always is my co-host Keith.
Hello.
And today we are joined by our very good friend, comedian, sketch comic actor, Stephanie Siano.
Hello.
So happy to have you here, Stephanie, as our guest today.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, we're
Totally worth the train.
She's coming all the way over from like across
sunny Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah, I had to cross 2 rivers to get here, so I'm glad you made the trek.
Of course.
So today we are talking about the 2003 family comedy film, Freaky Friday, directed by Mark Waters, whoever that is, and starring Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis. Now, this movie falls into the category, not the category I thought it would be in, the category of a positive score from critics with 87% approval and a negative score with audiences, a 57% approval.
For viewers at home, Steph's face just went, like her mouth just hit her jaw hit the floor.
I knew I hated others. I didn't realize I hated others this much.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Nothing's worse when people dislike a movie that you love.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's kind of crazy that this movie has such like a reaction that we didn't expect. And here's the critics' consensus. So the summary of what the critics feel: Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan charm in Mark Waters' nicely pitched and Disney's second remake of the 1976 hit. So I guess critics are kind of, even though it's a very high score, 87, it's like pretty high approval rating. They're kind of saying this is nice. they're liking it, I guess. And interestingly enough, I guess audiences aren't. So what do you think? What do you think of that response? Are you surprised? I mean, I imagine you are. You look like you're surprised.
I'm personally surprised just because it was such a delightful film. It was, it maintained pretty low stakes. It handled, like magical realism in a way that was both palatable for both like me as an angsty teen and my mother who grew up watching the Jodie Foster version.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm shocked that there are people who didn't like it. It was a delightful film.
Yeah, it seemed just like a crowd pleaser.
Yeah, right. Like what was wrong with it?
Right, we'll try to dig into that. What do you think?
I think I must have, like, this movie, I don't think it just, when this movie came out, I was 13, 12. This movie wasn't made for me, so I'm like, I won't see it. I've seen clips.
Was made for everybody.
True. No, I learned the power. I've learned the power of film a lot since then, but
it's very deep.
I was expecting. I've seen clips here and there, but I was expecting to not like it or be like, all right, what's this movie trying to do? Will I be charmed? I'm actually really I was pleasantly surprised by this movie, and I'm shocked by the score like everyone else. I think I was, when I looked up the score, you can argue 87 is too high, but 57 is so low.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of harsh. I mean, because 60% is the threshold for like a fresh, so it's kind of like just missing that mark.
Maybe we can get it past 60.
Yeah,
I think we can.
I think it's possible to get like that number bumped up with enough support. Because I don't know, it's a short movie, number one. It is like 90 minutes, if that. It's a very contained movie. It's one day.
Everything goes wrong in that day.
Yeah.
Everything lines up.
And it's also just very palatable. It's pretty understandable. There is a problem. People are put in a wacky situation. They have to deal with said wacky situation without revealing their secret. Of course, shit hits the fan. Yeah. And there's a happy ending that ends with mother and daughter finding love for one another.
A really good end.
Like, great ending.
The ending is what like earns at least 5 points. I'm like, damn, this is actually really this is better than Brave. At least what Brave tried to do for mothers and daughters.
You know what? I completely agree.
This at least is like the best Disney magical realism mother-daughter body switching movie I can think of. And I know there must be at least a few.
There are 2 others of this exact plot in and of itself.
Right. This is the 3rd Freaky Friday. Now,
Wait, what's the
first one was made in 1976. That's the original version with Jodie Foster as the kid. The second one was made in the 90s. I don't know anyone who's seen that.
I did not realize
Wait,
that.
who was in that?
I don't know. I looked it up. All I can tell was that there's like not enough scores for like a critical consensus on Rotten Tomatoes. So that movie kind of just came and went. And I guess
it's in the vault with it's in the deep in the vault of
Do
Disney.
you think that has any effect on the critic score?
I think like most people are comparing this to the 70s version.
People were pretty hard on this, comparing it. There were some audience reviews going, "This is how dare they remake this? This doesn't hold a candle."
Okay, so I actually, when I was thinking about this, I think that this movie is to the Jodie Foster version as the Lindsay Lohan.
Parent Trap.
Thank you. Parent Trap is to the original Parent Trap.
Yeah.
It's the same plot, but it really finds its own tropes. It tells the same story very differently. Generationally, and it adapts to the time period. It doesn't try to repeat the same jokes and get the same laughter. It owns its own identity.
That's what like a remake should do.
Yeah.
A remake should like I want to say do its own thing. Like it shouldn't just be like a carbon copy, which is kind of a waste. I mean, we're living in an age with all these shot-for-shot remakes of Disney movies into live action.
Exactly, and it just adds no value.
Right, exactly. People are going to just go back to the original one, whereas this, you can get something totally different out of this version than the 70s version. And, I mean, I know people really, hold the 70s version dear, but is it really as high of a classic as so many other movies that it's considered, like, an untouchable remake? Like... What
the concept itself has been done
body switching. Yeah.
I would say like
even
I'm trying to think of other body switching.
When the 70s version came out, it came out around the same time as the Shaggy Dog, which is the same thing.
That was remake
but
too.
Dad and Dog, and it was also a remake.
That's another body. Yeah, I'm realizing more how many body. Like I'm like, there's not that much body switching.
No, there's like a lot of.
There was that awful one. With Ryan, the R-rated body switching with Jason Bateman and Ryan Reynolds, where the cool guy and the
they both
lame
pee
dad,
into the same
they both
fountain.
pee into the thing.
That's technically the same.
And
story.
that went into such like the baby needs a diaper change and so he gets shit. It just went into weird, awful territory, and it was just awful.
That one with Jason Bateman.
Bateman, the hot chick. Is also
Hot Chick is really horrible, but I enjoy it unironically. I will say, like, I that movie is so dumb that it kind of wears me down. But this is not that. This is actually, I think, like
this is the gold
probably
standard of
like
body switching.
I
would say
top tier of body switching. But I do have to say, I have never, and I still don't really understand how body switching even works. What is being switched? Your mind, your body. Obviously
it's
your body,
your mind, I think.
but your mind, your soul, your brain,
yes.
What exactly is going on that you're?
And that's the magical realism component of it.
I would like a 20-minute short film epilogue of just going like, is there a God? Is there who did this to us?
I could never. Here's the thing, of course they're freaked out when this happens, but from that moment on, you know that supernatural things are real.
Yeah,
well, yes. You also notice that these exist in kind of godless universes. You know, you never in none of these films.
Wait, we gotta explore this.
In neither of these films,
there's no Jesus.
There's no Jesus. They don't go to church. These aren't in all these kinds of body switching films for the most part. Because honestly, in today's society where everyone is pretty religious, I'm not as a religious person myself at all, but if you wake up in a body that was not the body you recognized from every other day, you would, one, seek medical help, and two, be like, God, why? At no point do they say that.
This Asian lady targeted them because they didn't read their Bible.
Oh, well, that's what's so funny.
I have a lot to say about this Asian woman. There should be more people at that Chinese restaurant going why did you switch? She's just doing this willy-nilly.
I was about to say, this seems like it happens
She was going to do it to the son and the grandpa.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that how it ends? Where they...
Yeah, but then
her daughter tackles her.
Yeah, she stops it from happening. But this must happen all the time. A lot of people must have had their bodies switched.
She's like, Mom, you did it again. It's
so
how many people have is this even to teach a lesson?
Yeah. So as far as body switching, body switching is I think a bizarre sort of concept that Hollywood has convinced us to just accept. On paper, it makes no sense, but it's been done so many times that we're just used to it. Which I don't know. I get a kick out of that. The first people to see a body switching movie must have been like, what the hell is this? But as far as for the premise, as far as body switching movies go, This is, I think, I think the best kind of body switching is a generational body switch, and then also, I guess, family members. I mean, the whole idea is to see things literally from the other person's perspective.
Exactly.
So, also, I think actors have a fun time in these body switching movies. Jamie Lee Curtis gets to act like a teenager. Lindsay Lohan acting like a stuck-up adult.
Jumanji. I think you're watching your favorite actors play against type, and they seem to be doing that again. I think that's also. It's not the only reason it made $120 billion, but I think people do like seeing your favorite actors play against type.
Right. I think for an actor, it's an opportunity to just kind of do something totally different. And then, for viewers, you just kind of get a kick out of, like, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in the Jumanji movie looks like in this upcoming one, the sequel, he plays, like, an old man.
DeVito,
he's like imitating Danny DeVito or something. So it's like a playful sort of concept.
Jamie Lee Curtis was outstanding in this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
She's so great.
She was nominated for a Golden Globe for this, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Also,
she just threw herself into it. She let herself have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they had a blast making this. The whole like movie is very like upbeat, and also
honestly, I actually believe Jamie Lee Curtis as an angsty teen more than Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan is also. We could probably talk about her in a bit, but she's a number of reasons why they voted negative.
People have Lindsay Lohan hate.
I mean, she was fine.
At the time, this was like when she was still okay.
Yeah, she was. I mean, pray for Lindsay, quite frankly. But
really.
Like, I just think that Jamie Lee Curtis like had so much fun with that role, and I mean, in all honesty, the actress that plays the daughter in this kind of a situation does draw the short straw because it's less fun to play going to work, being a mom, grocery shopping, and planning a wedding.
Yeah, like uptight.
Exactly, where Jamie Lee Curtis got to fake an earring and like rock out and have to figure out. Yeah, so
she got to maybe relive her youth a little bit.
Stuff with, also, it's nice to see Mark Harmon not solving naval crimes. He's on that NCIS.
Oh, yes.
It was nice to see him, like, I've never seen him outside of, like, NCIS.
NCIS, yeah.
But her scenes when he goes in for the kiss and she's like, I thought Jamie Lee Curtis definitely elevated this movie, but I know people, they weren't even criticizing because they hate Lindsay Lohan. They're just like, oh, she's not a good actress or doing this part well. I actually enjoyed what she was given or what she had to do.
I think Lindsay Lohan has, like, at least at the time, like, it's kind of the same sort of appeal she had in Mean Girls. Like, she has this, like, kind of really good reaction acting.
Yes.
Like, she plays this role really well.
Yeah, she just has, like, a really, like, I don't know, the expression on her face when crazy things are happening, like, they cut to her face. I don't know, I kind of like her reaction acting.
It's because it feels very real, because that's what girls were like. She was able to bring that element of what girls were actually like and put it organically in front of her camera, where a lot of other people kind of made it feel a little robotic. I think the Olsen twins, like, their acting career probably could have gone a little bit farther, but, like, if you saw a New York Minute, there are so many...
Wait, you have problems with the New York Minute?
My only problems with the New York Minute
Is it lasted a minute?
That one, that it was not long enough. But two, it's that, like, that Mary-Kate and Ashley, with whom I'm a huge fan of, were pretty robotic and acting like what real girls were like. Lindsay acted like a real girl in every movie she was in, and she did that one role, played that one note really well.
Sure, this is her in her prime.
Yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately, like, she did The Parent Trap, and Disney knew they had, like...
I think the pinnacle was Mean Girls.
And Mark Waters knew how to work. He did Mean Girls as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And he did other movies.
This is a year before Mean Girls. Who knows? If it wasn't for Freaky Friday, would we even have Mean Girls? I don't know.
You probably wouldn't have it with Lindsay Lohan, maybe.
Maybe.
I feel like this Mean Girls, Mean Girls, you can say, it just works perfectly with all the cast.
Yeah, it's
an
an
ensemble.
ensemble.
Also, Mean Girls, I believe Lindsay Lohan was originally, like, sought after to play Regina George.
Oh.
And then they went with...
well, then maybe after this,
and then through auditions, they switched around the parts.
Oh,
and it ended up being perfect.
And also, this movie, I remember seeing a little bit, but that Confessions
of a Teenage
This is around that time, too. I remember the song vividly. Hey, girl.
Don't forget all those Disney Channel movies Lindsay Lohan was in.
I actually didn't have Disney Channel growing up, so I've not really seen a lot of them.
But she was in a bunch. She was in, like, a movie called Get a Clue. She was in a movie with Tyra Banks called Life Size.
That's a classic.
Yeah, she's been...
They're making Life Size too.
Oh, that's right. I did hear
What's
that.
It's about a Barbie come to life.
No, I know life size, but
Oh.
where is it life size to like?
I think Tyra Banks is coming back, but maybe not.
Yeah, Lindsay Lohan. Like,
Lindsay Lohan's
where's my
on a
friend?
beach in
We
Greece.
don't.
Yeah, we don't talk about it.
Look at me.
I know. We seem to be inside each other.
Old.
I beg your pardon.
Oh, I'm like the Crypt Keeper.
I have to say, with Jamie Lee Curtis, she does kind of like make fun of herself a lot. Like, there's one moment where she goes, "Oh, I'm the Crypt Keeper." And I feel like that's kind of insulting, but she just kind of like goes with it. Like, she takes shots at herself. That also is a moment. This is a movie where I remember every scene that was in the trailer. That scene they played over and over again in the commercials. I'm the Crypt Keeper, or when they run into each other to try to switch back, and the son is like, "What the hell's going on?" Like this,
Classic moment.
like everything in this movie was like kind of commercial, which is maybe like what
It was
audiences.
kitschy.
Yeah.
And I think that's where she was able to bring a lot of the expertise that she had from her like Scream day, from from more of like the horror.
Jamie Lee
like,
Curtis, yeah.
Yeah, and then she was able to bring that and kind of make it into a cliche, kitschy
Mhm.
rom-com teen flick, and
Yeah.
it played really well. That kind of kitschiness is the one
She's
thing
got
that ties
some
those two
comedic
kind of.
chops.
Yeah, she's got
some comedic
she really
chops.
like this was a good breakout as a comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that you
Yeah.
mention it, I guess she's most known for being like a scream queen, like the
Yeah.
Halloween movies. And she's like playing like more of these like dramatic parts. But yeah, I mean, that's
the
why.
same kind of campiness I think runs through those like
Mm.
kitschy horror
this is
flicks,
kinda campy,
and
yeah.
it's pretty campy.
You're right. You're right.
I was
like
kind of, at least watching this, I was kind of worried in the beginning, just with the campiness and just like, oh,
There's a lot of stereotypes.
how on the like, are they gonna say you have to walk a mile? How corny? Yeah, I did not like the brother at all.
Really?
Oh,
I didn't like the brother. I thought
You know who I
like,
didn't like? I didn't like the grandpa. I thought
the grandpa was a little.
He was kind of annoying.
He was,
Yes, the grandpa was very annoying.
He wasn't as funny as they thought he would be. This movie also has a lot of cliched lines. I
Yes.
think Lindsay Lohan in the first, before they switch, she says, "You're ruining my life" at least 3 times in 10 minutes.
I think that's also part of the trope of her character, though.
Yeah, that
Like,
she's supposed to
That's
be
like
a
you're ruining
generic.
my life. Like
Yeah.
that was like that's literally the only defining thing of that character.
Mhm.
Angsty teen who hates her mom.
Mhm.
Well, it was really just like I kind of had that voice in my head of like they should like, does this make sense? Why did like? And then I'm like, no, just shut up. This is a family movie,
Mhm.
and I think once I learned to, I would say 10 minutes in, once they really kind of switch things up, I was
Once you switch
like,
bodies.
that's when the movie really kicks in and starts having a good time. The setup is nice with them, but it's just something was off for me, and it took me a
That
while
setup?
to really get into it, and
okay.
as I said, I was
That could be
pleasantly
your lack
surprised.
of being a teenage girl.
And I do want to
This
say
is not
that-
for you.
I do want to say, but there is a family.
Oh, there's absolutely. And
There's
I'm
a
not saying
family
that the
element
audience
to it,
should,
yeah.
like is limited by
But
that.
I think people
but
were
I
turned off.
completely understand
I
it.
think
It's also having gone and rewatched it recently now, and I don't think I've seen it since like 2007.
Yeah.
Rewatching it now, I'm like, okay, this is a little bit kitschier than I thought it was.
Mhm, yeah.
But
more
like
over the
when I
top.
was a 13-year-old, 12-year-old, 11-year-old watching it originally, it was very much like okay, I would never be that angsty. My mom would never be that much of a bitch.
Oh, they have to, like,
really
hype it
went
up.
to
Yeah.
like
It's
the
heightened.
polar extremes, yeah, which was what
I'm
made
okay
it
with
funny.
that. I think
Yeah.
I'll find my like
Yeah.
right way to say things.
Mhm.
Like this movie was a motion picture. Like
Yeah.
this movie
Yeah.
was in theaters, and when I first turned it on, it almost felt like I was watching a TV movie.
God,
A Disney movie,
yeah.
yeah. I kinda got that
Yes,
Disney
I get that
movie,
too.
and I'm
Because,
like,
like you said, the stakes are kind of low. I mean, are they really? I mean, I feel like it's. If you
I'm
wanna
along
switch
with the
back,
stakes for this movie. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the mother's getting married.
It's a
Yeah.
small
Like,
scale.
It's
It's a
a
small
small-
scale movie. Like again, it takes place in one day. Everything is kind of like over the top.
the book selling, I thought that's where Jamie Lee really her
Yes.
book, like trying to explain the book.
Mhm.
That just shows her comedic chops, and I actually was
Yes.
Yeah.
laughing out loud.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
LOLing,
LOLing, as the kids say.
as the youth say.
Yeah, so I guess with our leads, if we're gonna talk about the cast, the characters, we really like our leads, and the way they make Lindsay Lohan before she switches, she looks like Avril Lavigne. Like they really take
It
that
was the same time.
early
Oh, yeah.
2000s
I
teenage
think
girl
I saw
punk rock
Avril
look.
Lavigne live the year this movie came
Yeah,
out.
they totally were going for that. Like this movie
All
captured
she
that.
needed was a tie.
Yeah.
I think she had a tie.
She had the fishnet.
Oh yeah. In addition to the cast, could we have seen? I don't think I could have seen. Like Annette Bening was supposed to play the mom,
Really?
but she backed out right before filming, and then they got Jamie Lee Curtis. And Annette Bening's a really good actress, but I'm really happy Jamie Lee got this part.
100%.
But they were also looking at Michelle Trachtenberg for.
Not familiar.
She's the one. She
Harriet
played
the Spy.
Oh.
I'm glad that was the first movie we both thought of.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer is the one. She had
an ongoing part in Gossip Girl.
Right.
She's a good actress, but
I'm sorry, I love Gossip Girl.
Oh, okay, yeah.
and I feel like a lot of people said like, oh yeah, anyone could have played the daughter's part, but I also like I'm in Lindsay's corner for this.
No, I think that Lindsay's. I mean, if like the two polar extremes there probably could have been like. Lindsay Lohan was like the perfect person for the role. Michelle Trachtenberg would have made it too innocent, and Amanda Bynes would have made it too like like
Joey.
Yeah, it would have been too like comic-y.
Okay.
So I think that like Lindsay Lohan had that like perfect elements of like all the other like leading starlets of the time.
There was something there. Everyone was noticing.
Kind of filtered into the right movie for them. Michelle Trachtenberg had that Ice Princess movie where she was an ice skater, and Amanda Bynes had She's the Man. Lindsay Lohan could not have done She's the Man.
Well, to speak to Lindsay Lohan's acting ability at the time, Jamie Lee Curtis thought she was twins. She never met.
Parent Trap?
She saw Parent Trap and
so she
she's
thought
like, this is
were
going to be my car.
twins.
She thought like, oh, where's the other one?
Because that was Lindsay's height of acting. Like it was not her best movie, but it was the pinnacle of her acting.
It was her like child. It was her Home Alone.
Oh, it was absolutely her Home Alone.
Yeah, she's very cute.
And they've suffered very similar fates.
Yeah.
One made it out alive. Or one
They're
one
both
made
alive.
it out. One made it out.
They're both alive.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin's kind of normal.
No.
We love you, Macaulay.
He's fine if you're listening. You're lovely. Saw you. He played a basement. At
I was there.
I was there too.
Really? Yeah.
I was not there, and I did not want to be there. So.
You didn't want to see Pizza Underground?
You know what? That's one that I passed on.
My hair, it's gone. And what is this? What have you done to my ear?
Mom, it's an earring.
Take it out. Take it out right now.
No, it looks cool.
Don't start with me. And those clothes are going back first thing tomorrow.
Why? Everyone likes them. You look great.
I look like Stevie Nicks.
Who's he?
And what are you doing with this?
I'm eating.
You cannot eat fast food.
Why not?
Because it will go down your throat and drop instantly to my thighs.
So, I do have to say, too, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan have good chemistry in this movie. And Lindsay Lohan, you talk about, like, how other actresses couldn't really do this part. I agree, because you have to be kind of over the top but still relatable in these parts, and I think they get that. You want to be able to relate to other families that have feuding, like, obviously every family with a teenage daughter has, like, conflicting, like, relationships with their parents, but it has to be even more over the top to, I guess, warrant switching bodies. Like, it has to be kind of taken more to the extreme. And with the other, like, cast members, everyone is definitely living in that, like, snapshot of the early 2000s. They're friends with, like, the punk rock look.
Gwen Stefani was supposed to be one of those girls, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
She would have been way too old for that.
Yeah, probably.
She would have been in her 30s.
Age is but a number, JJ.
That's true. Gwen Stefani does not age at all, so I guess she would have gotten away with it. And
then
then
for those meddling.
And then, what do you guys think of the love interest, Jake?
Chad Mickey Murs?
Is that his name?
Chad Michael Murray.
Chad Michael Murray.
He's beautiful.
Yeah, but he kind of has, like, the same look on his face the whole movie.
He has the same look on his face throughout everything he does.
What was his claim to fame?
The Cinderella Story, The O.C.?
No, One Tree Hill.
One Tree Hill,
I never watched
them, so all of those TV shows kind of blend together in my mind.
My question about him is, in my high school career, and has anyone ever seen a kid ride a motorcycle? I know this is... Really?
A Ducati?
Yes.
You had a kid ride a motorcycle in high school?
Yes. One kid. I mean, he didn't have his own motorcycle. It was his dad's motorcycle, but he had a motorcycle.
Wow, you shattered that ceiling for me. I always thought that was just like a movie thing.
Did he walk in slow-mo
to be a cool kid? Was he as cool as Chad Michael Murray?
No, not cool at all.
Oh. I was going to say, like, did he walk in slow-mo with the wind blowing his hair back?
No, the rest of us were like, you're a douche. Like that in real life is not an attractive thing. I mean, I also grew up in a town where, like, kids had Ferraris and Mercedes
Oh.
and yeah, no, there was one kid who had like a racing stripe on his car. Like people were douchey.
I
Yeah.
want that kid's cool.
But like no,
Yeah.
so like we didn't see this as like oh, you are a very cool person. We're like, oh, you're one of those kids that gets a lot of money from daddy, don't you?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm kind of happy because I always thought that was just a strictly movie cool kid riding motorcycle trope.
Yeah.
It's good to know that there are people out there that break that trope.
Well, I bet you that kid who did have the motorcycle.
I mean, it wasn't his. I think it was his dad's.
Well-
But he would just like use it.
Right, like the kid who did ride it. I bet you either he was told or saw in a movie like this that like if you ride a motorcycle, you're gonna get the girls.
You're also gonna get her mom. I found it a little bit weird. I found it a little like I get it. It's like, oh my god, your mom has
That should have been a
cool
huge
personality.
turnoff.
Your personality is kind of weird, but it's like, dude, you're also like I don't know if you were left back, but it's like, dude,
What year
know your
did
boundaries, man.
What year did the song "Stacy's Mom" come out?
Oh, like maybe a
I
couple
would say
years after
around
this.
this time.
Around this
Yeah,
time.
I
I'd
mean,
say
like,
around
I'm
this
just like
time.
in the mile markers in my life. It's all around this time.
Yeah. So was there like a theme in the early 2000s of just getting with like the mom? Like was that a thing?
Welcome to the aughts. I want your mom.
Yeah, that was like
This
a
movie
weird.
is the aught movie. Like
Yes,
this movie,
it is.
this
The
movie
aught.
belongs in a time capsule.
Early
of,
aughts.
Like
Yes.
of the early aughts.
Yes,
That
it
should have
does.
been like a
Like, the
huge
color
turnoff, though.
scheme, the Avril Lavigne, the
Yeah, it's a very bright movie, right? It's very. I feel
No,
like.
I mean, when you look at the movie poster with like the pink and green, like
Yeah.
they're color forward in the entire thing.
Yeah, it's very much like a day movie. Like it's like very,
Yes.
it's so like bright and sunny. But that kid though, I feel like even though yes, he's attracted to the personality of the teenage daughter without realizing that she's in like the mom's body, he's still pursuing the mom. Like that should be a huge turnoff. It's like, whoa, you're being like a weirdo now, pursuing my mom who like is about to get married. That I don't know. I feel like that after that she should have been like, I could be with a guy who's not as much of a ditz as this like weirdo.
That I think would have actually been like a very 2019 comeuppance ending. I think
would've been
that would
first
I
time.
think that would have been a really fantastic ending if the movie were to yet again be remade for around this
I feel like
time
I can see
period.
every 20 years we can do this movie.
Another
agree.
Freaky Friday.
Yeah, why not? Let's
Mhm.
just throw it up. I think that's a very modern way of looking at it. Back then, the end
true.
of the movie was the girl gets the guy that
Right,
she was
that's fair.
lusting after, and
Yeah.
whatever hurdles that he's attracted to her mother. Like
Wow.
it's like oh,
Quite a
that's
hurdle.
in the past.
Yeah.
And like we were kind
Wacky
of like pretty-
situation.
Exactly.
But,
We're very the girls in the aught movies were very willing to look past a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm. Even if they're going after your mom.
Yeah, like
it's
a lot
okay.
that and like with she's the man, like
She's
she
the
thought,
man.
like, she thought
Cinderella
this guy
story.
was pursuing her brother.
No.
Yeah, Cinderella
Oh, yeah.
story.
Cinderella Man? No, we were
Cinderella
not
Man.
the one with Russell Crowe. The one with Hilary
Cinderella
Duff.
story.
Yes, it's a Cinderella story with
No,
Chad Michael Murray.
I've been saying Cinderella Man. My bad.
Very different.
That's the one with Chad Michael Murray too.
Yeah,
and
he was like the perfect guy for all that
yeah,
stuff.
and he actively bullies her, and she's still like, you know what? That's the one for me.
He's so good looking, she can't resist.
It's all part of that like high school. Like also they look like they're 30 years old in high school.
Mhm.
He especially. I'm like, you look like you're a couple grades left
Well,
behind.
Like Rachel McAdams in Mean Girls, she
Looks
actually
like
was
34.
like 30.
Yeah.
She was much older, yeah. But that's
Yeah.
that's so common in like TV and movies to cast people in their like as old as their 20s or sometimes 30s to play like teenagers.
He is.
But it's an interesting trope. Now, I think this movie has kind of like, I guess, a very like, I want to say quote unquote rock and roll sort of thing because she's in the rock band, but it's like the Disney version of rock.
It's punk.
Yeah, like again, it's like
Punk asterisk.
yeah, exactly. It's like if you took Avril Lavigne but then made it like PG. Basically, it's
Avril Lavigne was pretty PG.
more so than that.
Even more.
Man.
Just
More-
Avril Lavigne, but
JJ, why do you have to go and make things so complicated?
Thank you. Good night. All right, but
I'll be here all week.
it's interesting because some of these audience comments I'm looking at are saying that this version of Freaky Friday is like crude or like I don't know, like just not wholesome. It's like totally wholesome. Just because it's
Is
not
it because of the Chad Michael Murray pursuing Jamie Lee Curtis?
maybe, but that's a quirk. That's like that makes him
Yeah.
quirky. That's not like he's not like I don't know, attacking her or something. That's just kind of like a peculiar part of the plot. But for the most part, this is a pretty, but then made down the line, straightforward. Like, exactly, it's like a family movie. Like, seeing things from each other's perspective. And just because it has a little, like, snippet of rock and roll, people are like, this is, like, crude. This isn't wholesome at all.
I do think people, just reading these audience scores, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I think you do have to really kind of just enjoy the movie. Just let go of that voice in your head who's trying to nitpick and go, like, just be mad. Like it's a fun, wacky... comedy, hour and a half comedy.
You very much have to take it at face value.
It's a good movie to watch with family.
Yeah,
take
totally.
It at face value.
And I don't think people could get that voice out of your head.
It doesn't take itself seriously at all.
I'll be your own.
And, you know, I guess if you wanted to just crap on this thing, so you could, but, like, probably would have a more fun time if you just, like...
lean into it.
Yeah,
exactly. There's some really funny moments.
It makes it very easy to lean into it. I feel like audiences didn't want
snippet. Yeah, I guess because we had already even in this decade by that point had seen a couple of the body switching movies. So I guess it's like, all right, here we go, another one of these. But again, I feel like this is definitely at a higher tier than, say, like the Hot Chick.
It is, and we're not saying it's not without its flaws. I just think it's just a fun movie to enjoy.
We're just kind of thrown by the disparity here. Like, there's a 30% difference in the audience score and the critical score. You know, there's nothing in this movie that's like controversial or like really that polarizing, is there?
Besides, like, raunchy, what were the other complaints that audiences had?
It's mostly like people saying like it did not hold a candle to the original. That
Lindsay Lohan was not. It's not even. It's like, some people were hating on Lindsay Lohan, but the ones that
thief of joy.
Yeah.
You're right. But there was some hating on Lindsay Lohan for her acting ability. I didn't even include the people just hating, like, Lindsay Lohan is a mess. I'm like, yeah, but that's not her now. And there are those comments in there.
We have to kind of like see her for what she was.
But the ones that I was interested in is like, oh, her acting ability is not really good. I'm like, I guess that's a criticism.
Some people,
I feel like they're really fishing for a critique there.
I was like, if you didn't like,
you're fishing.
If you didn't like the movie, you didn't like the movie.
Deep dive in there.
Like,
yeah, exactly. Like you either think the jokes are funny or you don't. Some people are like, it's unfunny or predictable.
We have to have one good body switching movie. Can we just let this be the one?
Yeah, this would be the one that I'd be like, all right, the gold standard. Predictable. Like, of course they're gonna see each other's perspectives and they're gonna switch back at the end. Like, duh. Like, what? It's gonna end with them staying stuck in each other's bodies forever?
It just fades to black, like we missed it.
Yeah.
Like credits
You're
show
screwed.
up. I actually think even with the ending,
flash forward 30 years.
Just that speech that Jamie Lee Curtis gets is so. I wasn't expecting it to.
Oh, at the dinner rehearsal.
I could see a lot of people teary eyed.
Yes.
Like I could see a lot of people being teary eyed by that, just because I was like, oh wow, this is more than just seeing each other from a different perspective. I actually was unexpectedly like it went to that direction in such a well thought manner. Like her speech was really good. Whoever wrote it.
Yeah. I think that was like more than probably what I even expected at the end. Like, you know, I'm having a fun time watching this silly movie.
It's an eyebrow going like, oh
but
yeah.
Then it's like, oh, okay, this is actually like a more well written at the end than I probably anticipated.
Exactly. Yeah.
It takes you by surprise just because everything is so tropey and you know, almost like situational comedy in the beginning.
Very sitcom-y.
That to have that like moment of like reality where like here's the takeaway at the end and it's like, oh my god, it does make you want to hug your own mother.
Yeah.
And I think that's what every Disney movie should really do is make you want to hug your mom.
Yeah.
Except for Toy Story, it makes you want to hug your toys. And your mom, you can hug your mom.
You want to hug someone, that's the
something.
Hug your fish.
You want to hug someone.
You read her diaries? Oh, that's gross. That's bad mom award.
But I'm concerned, Doctor, that she and this boy might be... I mean,
You know, stop. Nothing is going on between her and this guy. Because if there was, she wouldn't be writing about it in her diary. She'd be out there doing it. And her best friend probably isn't talking to her because she probably likes this guy too. And he probably even flirted with her a little bit. But he secretly likes your daughter. He just hasn't made his move yet because that wouldn't be cool. So now her best friend is acting like some psycho freak. Okay?
that's very interesting. I never would have thought about it that way.
Cool. Guess we're done.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think it was funny. And again, like, humor is subjective, and if you didn't think it was funny, then that's too bad. But even though I didn't think, like, say, the grandpa was funny, you know what I thought was funny? The patients. I thought the like psychiatry patients I thought were funny. Like the really needy guy when he's like, "You're a liar. You lied." I thought,
Yes, I love
like,
that.
there's like little lines in that I'm
Well,
like,
it does some setting up that, like, I think this guy's going to be an issue for when they do switch bot.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
setup for this was like, okay, I see where you guys
very
are.
obvious setups, but it's fine. Like, you look forward to them. It's like, oh yeah, like the crazy guy. Like, she's got to deal with him.
I feel like I missed something, though, and there might have been a line, like, why did that girl, and this could be a little bit my critique, why did that girl hate Lindsay Lohan, a former friend? Was it a boy?
They never said.
I thought there was a lot, like, I thought maybe I heard a line like, oh, we liked the boy, and he went with me.
I think she's just a mean
And it
girl.
was-
I think that
What that girl
what the
did
movie
was,
asks.
fuck you.
She sucks, that girl.
And-
Well, I mean, what this movie does well is just kind of alludes to like the underdog girl character pretty well, where it's like nobody would look. You look at Lindsay Lohan, especially in those days, and you were just like, nobody believes that you're the unpopular dweeb. Like, nobody buys that. And yet you still somehow buy it because the way that everybody else is acting is also just equally as absurd as Lindsay Lohan being not cool.
Yeah, in the context of, like this
she's hot,
world.
she's thin, plays a musical instrument. Like, she would be the coolest person in any high school.
Yeah, like she plays the guitar, she rocks. That's a problem with some, like, other teen comedies or teen movies in general, where you have, like, the dorky person who really is, like, actually quite good looking, but just wears glasses or
You know
something.
how bad that makes you feel as like an actually dorky looking kid? Like, you're just like, well, damn it. You don't realize that person on the screen is 26 years old
But she
and has
really
a
is
personal
all that.
trainer.
But it's like
She
so easy
really
for them.
is all that. I'm just gonna just throw out puns. Movie,
What else is new?
but but that like scene of just like, oh, they're copying me. I'm like, damn, that's cold. That is that.
Yes,
and then
she was.
And then Lindsay writes the
I'm
like,
stupid.
I'm stupid.
With the heart. I thought that was funny.
That was fun. I thought that went a little too. It was. I know this is a cartoony movie, but I'm like, oh, we're entering like. Even the kid was like, dude, we're ruining this girl's life too.
Yeah.
We're really doing an eye for an eye here. I'm like, it's not enough for me to deter my enjoyment, but I was like, oh.
Basically, that character was just like a straight up bully, and I guess
I wish she got comeuppance in another way.
Yeah, she was like,
I'll say
maybe
that.
she
That's
would
what
have
I'm
maybe
trying to
gotten
go.
like embarrassed or something, and that would have been better.
Instead of ruining her academic career.
Yeah.
I'm stupid. Oh, you know, Mary, I'm sorry, but you're stupid. Like you, I'm not stupid. Well, what does it say?
You wrote it. We have it on paper.
You don't know how to fill in the bubbles.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys recognize that actress, but I've only seen her in one other thing, and it was Dodgeball, also a year after this. She played Justin Long's love interest. Like, Justin, I love you! Right before Jodie loves Chachi.
You get the gold star. I did not even know.
I didn't put that together.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why I recognized that, but, you know, sometimes it just clicks.
Another surprise with this movie that I enjoyed was there was this line that Mark Harmon's just like, I just want to. Trying to be a stepdad, he's just like, go to the thing. And I just want her to like me.
What's that actor's
And
name
I think
again?
Mark Harmon.
I think he was
I felt
really
like
good.
that's such a good line. This is a good movie to watch with your mom and stepdad. I don't know how.
It's because everybody.
It's a very niche thing, but I think that's the
More
best.
movies
Okay,
should be-
but you can understand the overarching wants and what drives each character for every single character.
They didn't make him an asshole. Like, I'm gonna marry your mom.
Yeah, no, it's like
Yeah,
every
get
single
used to it.
character, like even the obnoxious little brother was probably relatable for obnoxious little brothers.
Well,
I
yeah.
think you could see like very clearly the objectives and goals for each character, and there were no characters where you were like, I mean, besides like the bully,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
was like
the
they
one-
just
The
needed,
trope,
they just
whatever,
needed
yeah.
a cliche villain, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But like for no
But she's not even the
character in this
focus.
movie are you're like. Yeah, I don't know what you're doing. It's like they're all going towards their goal, and each of their goals was pretty easily understood.
Super straightforward. Yeah, it's not. This movie like knows where it's going. It's very clear where it's going. Mark Harmon as the stepdad. That's not an easy role to kind of be this guy who's just
A
constantly.
nice stepdad too.
And there should be more movies that are pro stepdad.
Yes.
Or pro stepmom.
I think it's just this and Ant-Man. I think that's the. I think it's like the only like.
To be fair, like Parent Trap, kind of anti stepmom. Like.
Yeah,
Okay, thinking back to The Parent Trap. Meredith Blake was like 26 years old and was about to like be. She's incredibly wealthy, dresses incredibly well. She's the best, worst villain in the entire world. Like, I want to be her now. I'm like, you know what, Lindsay Lohan, you just didn't have your head on straight.
You're
She
too
knew
young
what
to
she was
understand.
going after.
Should give her a chance.
Yeah, you go, girl.
And then even there's a similar movie to The Parent Trap, It Takes Two, with the Olsen twins.
Oh,
Again,
yeah.
another like mean woman marrying the dad that they have to stop.
Oh, is that movie that we watched? And like Robert Loggia comes in and like decks her in the
It's
face.
not Robert
So is
Loggia,
Kirstie
but
Alley in it.
Kirstie
yeah,
Alley's
Kirstie
in it.
Alley,
Yeah.
and they do like a
It's not
running
Robert
gun
Loggia, but
yeah.
it's like another like famous like guy.
a Robert Loggia type.
Yeah, Robert Loggia type who's like, if you lay a hand on her, I'm gonna deck you
He
one.
decks her in the face.
No, he says he will. Well,
Oh, yeah.
that's a whole different movie. But anyway,
Yeah.
back to Freaky Friday. I was gonna say, a bit of a tangent there. Mark Harmon, I feel like it's kind of hard to do that part because basically the whole movie you're just like confused. You know, you have these two characters with switch bodies, you don't know what's going on, and you're just supposed to be like confused by their behavior. But he kind of like, I don't know, he's so grounded that I totally buy it. I think he does a pretty good job for what he's given.
I feel like the script of I would really be interested in reading the script for this, just because a character like that is usually just, you're not really putting that much character. He's more just reactionary.
They totally gave him like a voice and a perspective. Like
gave him a voice and perspective,
he has
and
a
also
totally-
he put him into it.
He has
So-
like a really nice bit to it. That wedding rehearsal when he tells like, Lindsay Lohan to go play, and it's like, I'm glad you put the kids first. That's the way it should be. And I think this movie does kind of capture like that sort of stepdad family dynamic well. A guy who does have really great intentions, and he's like doing.
It's such a disappointing thing for society that's surprising for us.
Yeah, that there's
It's
like
that, like, oh, that's such a disappointment because that the step parents are always vilified.
Yeah.
Well, it's at least for Disney, which always made one of your
Evil
top
stepmom.
villains is the stepmom.
Evil stepmom.
Which is so funny
sisters.
because they did always break every family.
Yeah, and so it's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice that Disney was the one to push.
if only for one
it
movie.
happened, and maybe it happened. Better late than never. 2003, new era, 21st century.
Yeah.
Might as well do things.
The whole new
differently.
millennium.
Whole new
Yeah.
millennium.
So in that regard, I feel like this movie made efforts that were way beyond what was necessary for what it was like doing. Like that was a nice moment, totally unnecessary, but I feel like again elevates it to that higher tier of these kinds of movies. So I think this movie has heart. It's not just
I think more even than that, I think this movie holds up.
Yeah, I think it's still funny.
Yeah.
You know what, too? This Freaky Friday has, it's kind of wacky, but it kind of has some sort of explanation for why they're switching bodies. I've seen, not the entire original, but there is no reason why they switch bodies in the original version.
Oh, right, yeah,
And
absolutely.
Really?
do you know this? So basically,
I've seen that scene, but I don't know why.
Exactly. So for anyone who doesn't know, in the original version, there's just a split screen of like Jodie Foster and the mom character, and like one's home and one's like out, and they just happen to say at the same time like something like, I wish you could see things from my point of view, and then like you see like their souls switch places, and then that's it. That's all it takes. So never say something that someone else could be saying at the same time.
So that movie is more like a trickster god doing the thing as opposed to an Asian woman who just wants to kick. He's just doing it for the kicks.
I have to say, that was just kind of like, I don't know. I don't think this movie like offends anyone, but they were like basically attributing it to Asian voodoo. That is their explanation of why this is happening. And frankly, fortune cookies aren't even a Chinese thing. Like that's like an American thing. So it's just, this movie didn't really offend any Asian people, as far as I know.
Happened, right?
Yeah, there was like an earthquake where
Did you feel that? Like, I don't know, you're scaring me.
that was the Asian voodoo at work,
Yeah.
the Asian magic. So I don't know if anyone was offended by this movie, like if Asian groups were offended, but
surprisingly, I'm happy.
so harmless.
I don't think.
I think that would be a harder trope to pull off today, though.
Nowadays, definitely someone would be calling out this movie like, "What the heck?" Like,
Yeah.
what this is
If
an
the
offensive
only
caricature.
role, if the only role a minority has, because we will call it what it is, the only role a minority at all has in this entire movie
Yeah.
is to be the the crazy
help.
trickster that like
Yeah.
puts the entire
There,
plot into
there's
action.
like supernatural
Yes,
powers.
and there's no other minority
That's
in
true.
the entire
Everyone else
movie.
is very, very white.
It's white.
Yeah.
It's not just
The
white, it's
bandmates,
white.
With a capital
the
H.
bandmates are right. They were all there.
What was that?
The bandmates are.
Oh, I think one of the
Oh,
bandmates.
Yeah,
the
one of
lead
them.
singer.
Oh,
yeah.
yes, the one.
She's
Okay.
ambiguous, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm so sorry for the one person I forgot.
Yeah.
No, but you're right. No, you're
But yeah,
no.
but otherwise, it's
But-
a very
Oh
overwhelming.
yeah, I'm not trying. No, you're right. I'm just like,
Yeah.
trying to think.
But I don't think. I mean, it's not done in the most problematic way.
No, it's not. It's played as, like I said, very light. It's they're not doing like a stereotypical offensive like accent or anything.
Right.
It's just sort of like a bizarre sort of plot device.
Yeah.
That, it could have been worse. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's not the worst.
It's not Mickey Rooney.
Bizarre,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
very understandable, digestible, and
Mm-hmm.
you're okay.
If I remember correctly, and I want to go back to your point saying this movie holds up, and I agree. I don't remember any like dated references. Okay, it's a generational thing. She's dressing like Avril Lavigne. The style is the aughts. It's a time capsule movie, but there's no like quippy lines like, "Hey, Avril Lavigne, get back to class," or "Hey, I voted for Bush." This is like, I think if they want to do a Freaky Friday, maybe in like every generation, I think
They
just
could
copy the
probably-
style of now, but don't add any like
Yeah, you could probably
references.
remake this one shot for shot, not change any words, but just change their outfits, and it would be.
And the technology.
And the
all
technology.
Right.
that,
You would
Yes.
integrate like social media. You would integrate like
That'd be a great
smartphones.
scene. The mom checking out the daughter's social
Yeah,
media.
like ooh, like what?
We're
is-
giving you ideas, Hollywood.
Yeah, come on, this is a gold mine here. Freaky
Oh my
Friday
god, that
should
could
live
be an
on.
entire scene. You can finally check your daughter's phone, but then you open the phone and you realize, oh wait, I can't open it because I still don't know her password because it's my brain.
But her password is "I love my mom" or
So
something.
now that the iPhone 10 can scan your face.
Exactly.
Okay, see, I'm even
And she
behind.
classies it up. She classies up her daughter's
Facebook
profile.
profile, her digital footprint.
She like writes up
and
a
then
more
the ending can be she has a LinkedIn profile that eventually leads to employment.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my god, are we just like
Guys,
Disney, you are
Wacky
welcome.
Wednesday? Are we doing
Wacky Wednesday?
Wacky Wednesday?
there should be one for every day of the week. Manic Monday, Trippy Tuesday, Wacky Wednesday,
We just do
Trippy-
we could keep Throwback Thursday.
Thorny Thursday.
Thorny.
And then I don't know.
And then at the end,
Scary
it's
Saturday.
like, man,
Yeah.
like wow, we went through a lot. And then they look over and there's Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis having like brunch. It's like,
You're telling me.
yeah, you're telling me. Wah, 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 wah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that I guess body switching is a concept that could keep going if they wanted to.
Well, you could do so much with body switching, and it's like
And they do.
like the situation.
And
they do all
they
the
do.
fun. They do all really good situations. Like the one the change up is the one with Bateman,
Yeah, that's
and that one just really kind of falls flat on his face, even
It's
with the
too
concept.
like mean spirited.
It's mean spirited.
Gross out.
It's gross out, vulgar.
Like this has the right tone. It's
Yeah.
like light, sweet, like kind of wholesome, but maybe
Wholesome with an edge.
yeah, exactly. Like
Did you ever
the
see
PG.
that 13 going on 30 also probably does the right thing, as opposed to Matthew Perry where he becomes.
Oh,
Is that
17
one good? Did
again.
anyone see that one?
Matthew Perry's 17 again. I don't.
13 going on 30 is Jennifer Garner.
That's Jennifer
And
Garner.
that shot her, but that one I think is a good one.
Yeah,
by
that one is like
standards.
a nice movie. One of the few movies where Andy Serkis plays a normal person.
Yeah, I always forget. Yeah.
17 again, I will admit I did see that one with my cousins, and I will also admit it did make me sad. I'm pretty sure I'm teared up in that
It
one.
has
I was
merit?
like, oh my god!
That's
It's
good.
not that even. I mean, it does have merit. Zac Efron is a dream, but
Just for Zac Efron.
and Matthew
A+.
Perry is a dreamer. I'm a bigger Matthew Perry fan than I'll ever be a Zac Efron fan. 10 out of 10 would rather
Right, that's
marry
fair.
Chris Yeah,
But don't you get way more Matthew Perry in that movie? I'm
You
sorry, you get way more Zac Efron
than you do Matthew Perry.
That's what I meant to say.
But I will say, they put you through an emotional ringer on that one, because that's also another one with, like, a broken family and divorcing parents, and you have to, like, one person has to witness, you know, their other former spouse on a date or blah, blah, blah. And that's another one where actually Zac Efron, as the Matthew Perry character, is like, hits on his wife, so the wife is flirting with essentially a 17-year-old. So this is not...
Who's the wife? Leslie Mann?
I feel like
she's the wife in the chain. I feel like she's the wife. She's like the perfect wife character.
I feel
in
like
those movies.
she's just the wife character.
Yeah.
She does it so flawlessly. I don't know why I want to say Julianne Moore, but I don't think it's Julianne
I'd buy
Moore.
it.
I love Julianne Moore.
Yeah,
she's
great.
She's
Now,
timeless.
a fun fact that I learned, and I did notice this in the movie, and I had to look it up. The father, the dead, when they show pictures of Dad, that's Christopher Guest. That's Jamie Lee Curtis's actual husband.
Oh. They killed him in real life. Just
They
to make
killed
the
him
movie
in
more
real life.
convincing.
For you fun movie trivia fact people out there, that was
Yeah,
a fun fact for me.
Yeah, that's like a nice little touch.
I like those little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also
for sure.
saves you looking around for an actor. Like, hey, why don't we just, Chris, you want to just come in for a photo?
It's the more human version of stock photography.
Yeah.
They probably just grabbed like her own actual photos. And you know, 13 Going on 30 deals with like heartbreak, right? Like she I think that has what's his name, the Hulk.
Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo, yes.
Mac is his less successful.
Macklemore Ruffalo.
So that one deals with like
That's a great
heartbreak.
Halloween costume. Macklemore,
Mac
Hulk.
Hulk.
So that's another one that you're right. That's another like 2003 one, I think, and kind of hitting like the same sort of tone.
Wow,
Although
there really is a time. Like, there really is like a whole bunch of these movies.
Yeah, no, they
Like
really
that-
got all of us to
And it all takes
suspend
place
our
in the same high
disbelief.
school.
Yeah.
All takes place in that weird magic high school. Not
Why
Hogwarts.
do people keep moving there?
She don't know what you're talking about. No idea. Okay, let's have lunch, okay? Let's eat.
I think you know exactly what we're talking about.
Let's hit her.
Okay. I cannot fix it. Only you can fix it. When the fortune come true, then you go back, not before.
What fortune?
From the fortune cookie. You find the answer in each other. When the fortune come true, then you go back, okay? No big deal.
You mean we're like stuck in this suck fest?
You're not going to do anything?
How about 10% off catering?
No, Pepe, I already told you we have a caterer.
Actually, Mom, there's something I forgot to tell you.
Okay, good idea. How about I do?
Anything else though with this movie that we haven't touched on yet? I mean, just trying to think of some of the other cast members. You have the teacher, that like sleazy teacher who fails her. He should be fired, right? That guy is aggressive.
Oh,
That teacher, that
100%,
character
but also-
actor that we've all seen before. Also,
Ned.
every other character in this is like
You
from the
recognize that
bully-
actor?
Ned.
Ned
Stephen
Ryerson.
Tobolowsky. Just like she kind of like lays out the theme of 1984. And
She
he's like,
literally
"Nope,
just
F."
states the plot, and he's like preposterous. And then later on, when
Can't you challenge that?
as
in,
the
like,
mom,
school?
I would like show that paper
Request
to
a booth review.
Yeah, like let's go to New York. I would take that paper and show it to the teacher. Like, I literally just stated the plot of this book, and he gave me an F. Like, what do you think? Even with the like oral test, when it's like the mom in her body, like literally, what is the plot of Hamlet? And she just says it, and he goes, no, and fails her. Like, this guy is like insane.
I think that's just also like leaning into like the whole world's against me, which was like the original motivator for her.
But it really was.
But
Yeah,
it
it
really
does.
was like the whole world
The
was
teacher
so
and
against
he
her.
was,
And I think
she turned him down in high
mom
school. And
turned him down.
there was like, oh, I'm gonna get revenge on the daughter of my ex-love or something.
By
like
just
that.
ruining her life.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I feel like any teacher watching it going like, you could challenge that. You can go to like the principal being like,
Oh, yeah,
you
there
have
are
a vendetta
administrators.
Yeah,
That
teacher would at least be put on like some academic probation or something.
Oh, 100% that teacher should be put on.
I wish he
academic
got-
Failure. That's what 57%.
I wish he got more of a comeuppance too, because he was such a jerk that, like, yeah, she kind of like exposes him, but it'd be nice to like actually just see him walking out with a
Yeah,
box.
he should have driven
lighting
into a
fire.
lake.
Yeah.
We've had very different goals.
He also has
He
like
could also be driven into a lake. That's
he
fine.
also has a box that says "I'm stupid."
Just tattooed to his forehead.
Yeah.
I'm stupid.
And I think it also makes like the young audiences watching that kind of be like, yeah, when I fail, it's because the whole world is against me too.
Yeah, it's totally relatable.
Yeah.
And these kind of movies, they purposely create these like over the top jerky characters just so you sympathize with the main characters more. Like,
Everything's very heightened.
Yeah.
Although this kind of a trope, weirdly enough, does exist in real life. So,
teachers failing students for no reason?
So, well, not for no reason,
Or
and
for
not
revenge.
necessarily even related, but you think about that kind of a concept where it's like, this teacher is teaching somebody and it doesn't go well, and there's animosity between the teacher and the student, and it turns out that their worlds are actually connected in a weird way, if you go look somewhere in the other direction.
I'm along with what you're saying.
Yeah,
So
totally.
my fiance was in law school. He was in law school. He had a professor who he hated, and it was like it was the worst grade he got in law school. It was just such a chore to go to class. He hated the readings. He was assigned far too much work. It was more work than any other class that he had. And recently we were at my house, and he was telling my mom about this one professor, blah, 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 and his name is X. And my mom just looks up. He was in our wedding. Turns out, like, he went to college with my mother and was at my parents' wedding and embarrassed himself at my parents' wedding.
Wow.
Like got incredibly drunk and did something crazy at my parents' wedding, and my parents haven't spoken to him since. And my parents are like, "Did you meet this guy?" And I'm like, I think I did. I don't know. So, like, weirdly enough, those kinds of coincidences that you really think only happen in Hollywood, they do happen
Not
in
too
real
far.
life.
Well, stretch.
You should tell. Like, I think the universe. You should tell. Like, you told us something before we started recording. We told you, hey, we'd love to have you Freaky Friday for the podcast. So.
Oh, yeah, and then my office yesterday had a Freaky Friday themed staff meeting.
I think the universe.
Yeah.
I think the universe wants you to
in?
switch places with someone.
I think so.
Who would you switch places if you could switch with anyone?
Oh my god.
Celebrity or someone you know personally?
Probably Kristen Bell. Have you seen her abs? She's
I want those abs.
just to meet Ted Danson. Jack Shepard. They just seem like they just have a wonderful life together.
Sure.
She sings like an angel. I've never been able to sing, and I've always wanted to. So I wonder what that would be like. I think they live on a farm. I would just love to see what their life is like.
Yeah.
And she's just such a gem. I would love to be.
And
I would love to have been Sarah Marshall. That's such an iconic role in my opinion.
Also, if you switch bodies with her, then we'll get to know Kristen Bell, who's in your body.
Exactly. It's a win-win situation.
Win-win.
Yeah.
But I can see Freaky Friday, at least that concept. Yeah, you can call it Freaky Friday, being made in the 2020s. It's been about 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Has there been another like body switching movie in recent years? I think there was a movie like recently of like was it like what's her name, Regina King or something from
like the
from Scary Movie
and the girl from Blackish and Issa Rae, like Littleish,
yeah, or just Little. It's
Little.
just called Little. It's not connected to the Blackish show. That's one that I can think of in recent years of someone either switching bodies or just their body changing into something else.
Yeah, it's like the reverse big.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see it.
So I'm just saying, like, there's this concept. This concept hasn't totally gone away.
No,
but
and there's also like the
definitely
like
not.
the Rebel Wilson movie where she doesn't wake up in a different body, but she wakes up and her life is completely different.
Oh, rom-com.
Yeah,
right?
it's like
yeah. It's like a rom-com satire.
Yeah,
kind
and
of
I
thing.
think that's while it's like not the body switching exact trope. It's very, very similar where you wake up and everything's different.
Yeah,
and
it's like a
weird.
cousin of the
Really,
concept.
Yeah.
It really depends. The magical realism of all these body switching, body aging, de-aging, it really depends on the... I even think the writing could be basic. It really depends on the actor who's really embracing
Depends on the
role.
actor. Also, just depends on like
And the
what
scenario.
The scenario, like who's
Yeah.
switching bodies and to what purpose does this serve? How about this? We actually remember Kevin Spacey was in one. The Cat won 9 Lives. That was a few years ago. And I think that is probably definitely on like one of the lowest ends of this kind of movie where he's just a workaholic dad and changing him into a cat will somehow get him to appreciate his family, I guess.
What about Shallow Hal?
I think I put that in maybe like not the same exact genre, but like a close sort of
less left to center.
Again, like you're right. It's like magic realism.
Magic realism.
Alt magic.
Alt magic realism. Is it
no.
worthy of the podcast?
I'll look into it.
I remember seeing it once, and it has a few laughs, and I was just like, okay.
It's the same idea.
hating
And then
that
I went
movie.
outside in the rain. Like,
I remember hating that movie.
Oh, you did?
I can see,
Yeah,
I
that's
can
one
see a
I
lot of
remember
reasons.
just hating.
It's very mean.
Yeah.
I remember it being very mean.
Yeah, it's trying to have like a nice message that, and I kind of like the concept, but the tone was like not right. Well, maybe they should have a tone like this.
Yeah.
This one gets it right.
Yeah.
I don't remember reading any of this in your book.
Hello! It's called reading between the lines.
Oh my God.
What?
And you know, if you
That's my mom.
try listening to the yeah-yeah-yeahs, the lines, the breeders, and if you're excited about something, why do you have to hold it in all the time? You know, just scream about it, okay? Do this with me, all right? Let's just say this cute guy asks you out. What are you gonna do? Come on, that was pathetic. You know, you keep all that bottled up. No wonder you're getting old. I'm serious. This guy's hot. What are you gonna do?
God, your mom's cool.
Now we will go into our personal approval ratings for this movie. Just to wrap it up, again, 87% approval rating from critics, 57% from the audiences. But what did we give it? We'll average our scores and come up with a consensus among ourselves. So Stephanie, what percentage approval rating would you give?
I'm gonna give it an 89.
89. All right.
Strong.
Let's get my calculator
Holds
here.
up. It's formulaic, but in a good way.
Yeah, right. It's just like
Formulas work.
Yeah, formulas work.
Tell that the physics.
yeah. It was made by a mad scientist in the lab.
It kind of.
That's
does
where
feel
they
like
got
that.
those fortune
They do
cookies.
have like when you think about like the narrative structure of stories, right? It
Yeah.
does hit every single point very formulaically, which is why it holds up so well.
It's kind of comforting in that regard.
Yeah,
right?
it's a comfort movie. It's
So
like a
familiar.
little massage for your soul.
Yeah, it's like comfort food of a movie.
Yeah.
Which
In terms of
actually,
being a comfort movie, it's like a flavored comfort movie just because it's a little bit better. It's a comfort movie, but I think what Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan bring to the table really
Little
kind
bit
of
of
makes this the gold standard of body switching movies.
Yes.
Which is why I'm going to give it an 80.
okay.
Okay.
Like, I do. Yeah, I'll give it an A. I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, I think those are all fair points. And, we're on the same ballpark here. It's just these are kind of splitting hairs what exact percentage you would give it. But I'll probably just kind of split the difference between you guys because I like to be in the middle here. So I'll say like an 85.
Nice.
Would be my consensus.
Okay.
So that is like okay. I did not do that properly.
You're calling someone.
Yeah, wrong number. It's an 85. So,
I think that's
I
appropriate.
think that's a very appropriate number for this movie.
For what this movie's trying to achieve,
It's
I think
absolutely
it's
an 85 movie.
yeah, it's totally solid. And, again, if you didn't like it, that's probably either because it's very subjective. You didn't think it was
Because you have
funny.
bad taste.
It's because you suck. It's probably just, you didn't either find the jokes funny, which, that's very subjective, or you don't like the actors. Again, very subjective.
This is a movie to watch with your family. I don't think you would be disappointed.
Not at all. Or
At least don't be a curmudgeon.
or uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
right?
be uncomfortable watching this with anyone you're related to.
No, it's definitely not one of those kind of things where, like, you're uncomfortable watching with your parents or something. No, not at all.
Yeah, we saw Bad Moms with my mom, and that was the worst thing in the entire universe.
Bad mom's bad.
Bad moms is bad for moms.
Yeah, yes, very.
All right.
For moms, by moms.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you, Stephanie,
thank you for being
joining
here.
us.
Thank you guys for inviting me. I hope to come back.
Yeah, definitely. I must, before we sign off, I must officially decree that we are siding with the critics.
Woo!
Yeah, so, that is another one on that side, so maybe at the end of all this, we'll do a tally to see who we're more siding with, audiences or critics, but...
Maybe we'll switch bodies.
Yeah, maybe the audiences switch bodies with the critics. And
there's your tagline.
That could be something.
We helped Hollywood so much with this episode. We gave them
You're
gold.
welcome,
We gave them
Hollywood.
so much
High
gold.
hopes for this franchise. Let it keep going. So again, Stephanie, thank you for joining us. And join us next time, guys, for another Divided Film.